July 11th, 2015, 8:52 p.m. Inside Mexico's most secure prison, security cameras capture what appears to be a routine evening. Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán, the world's most wanted drug lord, paces in his 12 by 8 foot cell. He checks his watch, moves toward the shower area, and then he simply vanishes from the most surveilled location in Mexico. Within hours, news of his disappearance would dominate international headlines from CNN to BBC to every major network worldwide. The impossible had happened. Again. What guards discovered in that shower challenged every assumption about prison security, criminal capability, and the very nature of what organized crime could accomplish with unlimited resources and 17 months of patient preparation. This wasn't magic. This wasn't luck. This was precision engineering on a scale that defied comprehension. The question isn't whether El Chapo escaped from Mexico's Alcatraz. The question is, how do you dig a mile and a half underground and emerge exactly beneath one specific shower drain? Altiplano Federal Prison stands like a concrete monument to institutional control. Built in the mountains 90 kilometers west of Mexico City, it was designed as Mexico's answer to America's ADX Florence, a facility specifically engineered to contain the uncontainable. When Joaquín Guzmán was captured in February 2014 after 13 years on the run, Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto made a public promise. This time would be different. This time, El Chapo would never escape again. Cell 20, Block 3. 12 feet by 8 feet of reinforced concrete and steel, one small window, bulletproof glass, filtered air. 24-hour surveillance through multiple camera angles covering every inch of the space. 700 guards working in rotating shifts, 300 security cameras recording every movement, motion sensors in every corridor, pressure plates beneath every floor, metal detectors at every checkpoint. The Mexican government had invested $60 million in technology and personnel to ensure their most valuable prisoner would remain exactly where they put him. This investment reflected hard-learned lessons. El Chapo had escaped from maximum security facilities twice before, once in 1993, wheeled out of Puente Grande prison hidden in a laundry cart, and again in 2001, smuggled out in a laundry truck with the help of corrupt guards who were paid more in a single night than they earned in 5 years of government service. Altiplano was designed with his history in mind. Guards rotated frequently to prevent relationship building, multiple authorization levels for every decision, psychological profiles and financial audits for every employee with prisoner contact. Yet even in this fortress of surveillance, Mexican law required one small concession to human dignity. A tiny section of the shower area remained unmonitored to preserve prisoner privacy during personal hygiene. This wasn't oversight. This wasn't architectural failure. This was legal requirement, and it would become the focal point of the most sophisticated prison break in modern criminal history. What Mexican authorities didn't know was that within days of El Chapo's arrival at Altiplano, construction had already begun on a project that would render their $60 million investment completely worthless. December 2014. 11 miles from Altiplano Federal Prison, construction begins on what appears to be an ordinary residential project in the quiet neighborhood of Santa Juanita. Building permits filed correctly, contractors hired through legitimate channels. Neighbors report nothing unusual except perhaps the dedication of workers who seem to labor around the clock. Above ground, a half-finished house, indistinguishable from dozens of other small construction projects across Mexico. Below ground, the most sophisticated escape tunnel ever documented in criminal history. 1.7 kilometers. That's the distance from the Empire State Building to Central Park, from the Eiffel Tower to the Arc de Triomphe. That's how far they dug, underground, through rock and clay and the foundation of Mexico's security apparatus. But distance was merely the beginning of an engineering achievement that would challenge every assumption about what criminal organizations could accomplish with unlimited funding and professional expertise. 5 feet 7 inches in height, tall enough for comfortable walking. 30 inches wide, sufficient for equipment transport. 10 meters below ground, deep enough to avoid detection by standard security sweeps. These weren't arbitrary measurements. This was precision architecture. Professional electrical systems providing consistent LED lighting along the entire route. Industrial ventilation systems with PVC ducting, capable of supporting motorcycle exhaust fumes and human respiration for extended periods. Custom-built railway tracks embedded directly into reinforced concrete flooring. Transportation infrastructure included a modified Honda motorcycle fitted with specially manufactured railway wheels, capable of sustained speeds up to 30 miles per hour through the underground corridor. This wasn't improvisation. This was custom engineering. 350 truckloads of excavated material. To put that in perspective, that's enough earth and rock to fill 40 standard swimming pools. Every grain of dirt, every fragment of stone, removed truck by truck, night after night, without arousing suspicion from neighbors, authorities, or the extensive surveillance network monitoring the area around Mexico's most secure prison. Conservative estimates suggest over 40,000 hours of labor. At standard construction rates, this represents the full-time work of 20 skilled laborers for an entire year. Mining engineers, electrical specialists, concrete workers, GPS technicians. This wasn't a criminal conspiracy. This was a construction company. But here's what transforms this from impressive to impossible. The tunnel had to terminate within inches of El Chapo's shower drain, 11 miles away, 30 feet underground, with no margin for error. This required surveying equipment typically reserved for subway construction, GPS coordinates accurate to within 2 inches, and geological analysis of soil composition, water table levels, and underground utility placement. Financial investigators estimate total construction costs at approximately $5 million. That's more expensive than building 3 average American homes, all invested in freeing one man from one cell. For 17 months, while El Chapo maintained his carefully monitored daily routine under constant surveillance, professional construction teams worked around the clock 30 feet beneath Mexico's most secure prison, inching closer to a breakthrough that would embarrass a government and challenge fundamental assumptions about institutional security. July 11th, 2015, 8:52 p.m. Security cameras capture El Chapo in his cell, following what appears to be his normal evening routine. He paces near the small table, checks his watch repeatedly, moves toward the shower area, the single location in his entire world without camera coverage. 37 minutes earlier, at 8:15 p.m., tunnel workers had completed the final breakthrough. Using industrial cutting equipment, they carved a 20-inch by 20-inch opening through 18 inches of reinforced concrete, steel mesh, and waterproofing materials. The hole was mathematically precise, large enough for human passage, small enough to avoid immediate detection during routine inspections. 9:29 p.m. Guards complete their scheduled security check. Cell 20 appears normal. El Chapo's bed shows signs of recent occupation. Personal items remain in their designated locations. Nothing suggests anything unusual has occurred. By that time, Joaquín Guzmán was already more than a mile away, traveling at 30 miles per hour through professionally lit tunnel corridors on a modified motorcycle specifically engineered for underground railway transport. 17 months of construction, 40,000 hours of labor, $5 million in investment, all for 3 minutes of underground travel to freedom. The exit point inside the half-constructed house in Santa Juanita provided immediate access to waiting vehicles, clean identification documents, secure communication equipment, and multiple escape routes planned with the same precision that characterized every other aspect of the operation. 6 a.m., July 12th, 2015. The morning shift discovers what their colleagues had missed during the night check. Cell 20 is empty. The shower area contains a perfectly square hole, descending into professionally constructed tunnel infrastructure. The impossible has become reality. Within 2 hours, news of the escape dominates international headlines. The phrase El Chapo escapes again trends globally on social media platforms in multiple languages. Mexican authorities immediately launched the largest manhunt in the nation's history. Federal investigations reveal systematic corruption involving multiple levels of prison staff, outside contractors, and government officials. 13 individuals are arrested within the first week. Exploration of the tunnel reveals not just its impressive scope, but evidence of its sophisticated planning. Construction materials traced to legitimate suppliers. Tools show professional quality. The engineering demonstrates expertise typically found in major infrastructure projects, not criminal enterprises. For 6 months, El Chapo remains free while international law enforcement agencies coordinate the most expensive manhunt in Mexican history. Over $100 million in resources, cooperation between Mexican federal police, American DEA agents, and Canadian intelligence services. January 8th, 2016. Los Mochis, Sinaloa. After a dramatic pre-dawn raid involving helicopter gunships and Marine Special Forces, El Chapo is recaptured. This time, Mexican authorities take no chances. Within months, he's extradited directly to the United States. Today, Joaquín Guzmán serves life without possibility of parole in ADX Florence, Colorado, America's most secure correctional facility. 23 hours daily in solitary confinement, no contact visits, no possibility of escape. The tunnel architect has met his match in American concrete and steel. The tunnel remains, sealed but intact, preserved as evidence of what organized criminal enterprises can accomplish with unlimited resources, professional expertise, and systematic corruption. The escape cost Mexico over $60 million in security upgrades and immeasurable damage to institutional credibility. Sometimes the most incredible stories are true. Sometimes impossible is just another word for expensive enough, patient enough, and corrupt enough. The tunnel beneath Altiplano proves that with sufficient resources and systematic planning, even the most secure institutions can be undermined from below.